Hello and welcome to the Tall War Thunder podcast. This is a podcast where we talk about everything about War Thunder and all its glory and its fails. So a quick little thing about how we're going to do this podcast. We're just going to quickly talk about things that came out in the patch. That will be our patch notes section. Then we'll move along to dev notes. So this is where developers have talked and said stuff on the forums, and we're kind of getting a glimpse of what is in the future for War Thunder. Then we'll move on to rants and raves. That is where myself and my lovely crew of people here today will just start to complain about everything in War Thunder. And I believe we have one question from our Q&A, so we'll talk about that. So let's get right into this podcast and see who's here. So today I'm joined by who is here?
Canadian Zebra.
Alright, Mr. Joe here.
Sev War Thunders.
And Anonymous.
And as always, your host, Stefanzo. So let's go right into patch notes. So what have you guys heard about the patch? I know a lot of tanks came out. What else?
Oh yeah, a lot of stuff came out.
Tanks I'll never get.
And the word was
They had-
more that was announced today.
They had the
Tanks Zebra will never get to.
Well, I know
and then the new.
a lot of vehicles did come out. We did get quite a few aircrafts and quite a few tanks, especially the German glass cannon lineup.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? The new lineup of glass cannons.
2 words: overpowered. I mean, they have like the really good tanks. They have the Dicker Maxes added in and stuff like that.
The Nash one is beautiful.
Yeah. It's kind of good though to give it because the German tanks, they were always like they're okay, but there was really nothing that made it above and beyond. So it's kind of good for that.
Okay, yeah, because I've been playing with the Dicker Max quite a bit, and it's actually a very amazing tank. Its gun depression is just disgusting, though. Like 50 degrees down, that is just horrible. Like, I've been attacked at and sniped at by Dicker Maxes, and you can't see a bloody thing.
Yeah.
Still one shot them though.
Well, if they
Done
expose them.
Yeah, the failures to kill to get behind them, but it's hard to get behind them. Because usually if they went into battle, they're kind of dumb. It's more of a sniping tank.
Yeah. Well, we did. Yeah, and it's actually really nice to go around with that tank. It kind of has battle rating. It's almost a one shot, one kill if you know where to hit.
I talked about the new sky effect that they added in, the new engine thing they added in.
Oh, for the Tiger 2?
No, the sky.
Oh, what? Oh, the sky.
Oh, the sky. Remember the
yeah.
clouds?
New photorealistic technology.
Yeah.
For the clouds.
It may just be me, but it's really hefty on my computer. Like, before that happened, like, I can run my computer fine. I can run tanks fine, like 60 plus FPS on low. But
Didn't
when
it
they
break
added
a lot of people's computers
yeah,
at first?
when they added it in, it really dropped my frames. Like, I had to go to ultra low when I played tanks. Now it's just really annoying. I mean, it looks nice and stuff like that,
frames.
but I feel like they should have added an option to turn it on or off. Like, if it doesn't affect the game too much. If the sky looks play different.
For the planes, it does affect the game.
Like for the clouds and stuff?
Yeah, because the planes use the clouds for cover.
Yeah, but the clouds are still in it beforehand. They just made them look nicer and stuff. And on low settings, I don't know if you guys on low settings, there's like when you go into the clouds, your plane gets all pixelated and it looks really weird and kind of gross. It's kind of unappealing.
Who doesn't like pretty clouds?
Zebra's description 2015.
Thanks, Zebra.
Maximum Zebra.
Well, with the new photorealistic skies and the new water effects that came out a while ago, I just playing that April Fool's event of pirates was so fun and beautiful looking.
Let's talk about the pirate ships anyways, eh?
Yeah, what do you guys think of
that? That's first, beta they kind of had for ships for anything. Wasn't April Fool's kind of joke, pirate ships and stuff. But it really added in some interesting things they're doing with like the concept of how ships are going to work. They had the cannons on each side. You shot them, they were loaded like that. And you had the sails and stuff in the wind. But I find it kind of cool. I find it quite enjoyable. I mean, of course, it got really repetitive because it was the same ship, same battles. It took a while to kill them. But I feel like if they did, try to make ships out something like that, it would be good because like how the ships moved and everything like that, and all the detail they put on it, it was really good in my opinion.
I like the aiming in that, like how you, yeah, like wherever you pointed your mouse, you didn't move the vehicle, you just directed the guns. And so, in a sense, my opinion, it's just like, oh god, my dog cracked. My dog's around my cord. What's nice is like you can it's like a gunner in a sense. You're in gunner view. It's like the tank of a ship. That's all they did. They just took tanks and strapped it on.
Yeah, and it was very
ahead.
interesting for me when I saw it. I was like, okay, it's just ships is the first thing, and it kind of motivated me because in the last podcast we did talking about how they need, like I feel like they need to work on the ships, and now that I'm seeing this, I'm kind of happy that they are doing something to work on the ships itself. So
yeah, well, I'm not sure if it was an April Fool's or was it an actual realistic announcement about like what they wanted ships to look like.
Well, it's on the development. If you look on the link I sent you in the chat, it will direct you in the initial tech tree of the Royal Navy, which is composed of the Henry Grace Zoo, Golden Hind, HMS Revenge, Sovereign of the Seas, Victory, Shaw, and the Warrior of the Royal Navy.
Yeah, like I know I saw that, but it kind of seems weird that we'd be starting off with sail ships.
Yeah, I feel like it's just kind of like I feel like that's going to be like probably part of the beta. Like, I feel like they might do something like in the summer, like a little things like Navy ships,
Well,
because it's definitely kind of weird.
Like the Warrior, the HMS Warrior was a dreadnought in a sense, but I personally I understand if they started off in 1900. So you're starting off at 1901 before World War One, and you kind of use that legacy of ships, so they can start off of reserve ships and tier ones in kind of that World War One sense, where ships was just starting to be produced nicely, and then you can kind of fill up those low tiers and then start filling in, the rest of it for all the other things because. I understand they put the sailing ships because, well, the British Navy was always been huge. They had that rule where their navy has to be double the size of whatever is the second largest navy in the world at that time.
Well, I hope they don't get confused with the matching system, like getting all these sail ships into going against diesel ships.
and it could the thing of the photo could all be pranks. It could all be like that April Fool's
yeah, because
joke,
it came out so quickly after after April Fool's, so I'm still skeptical about it.
Well, talking about the ship's April Fool event, well, have you encountered the Kraken in there?
Oh yes, that was a very fun little thing.
Now, there's a new bomber.
Which
this
one?
is like one of my top 5 favorite bombers. The H8K they added in. So they had the two variants. They had the one which is the non-premium, and then they had one which was the premium. Now I saw the plane that they're developing it, and I'm like, wow, this is going to be overpowered.
Yeah, I mean, it has
and when I bought it, the 520 mils in the premium, I mean that really hits hard. I mean, people were coming on me, they die. I'd go and I'd attack because you have the guns. Your 20s are on the back, the front, the side, and the top. That's where your guns are. And things would fly right over me, point my guns upwards, shoot them like 3 times because it's 20 mils. Their wings would rip off, and then I get an easy kill. Chase down B-25s because that thing was a beast. It was fast. The thing was insanely fast for the BR 3.3, and considering that most people you're going against didn't even have 20 mils at that time, they're all shooting 50 cals at you. I mean, that thing just take tons of hits. I remember I had like 3 planes on me. I was on fire. I got fired twice, and I got both times. They got let out, and I killed all 3 of them. And it was just ridiculous because they just, I just found it's like really, I think they're going to do something to nerf it because, I found it was like way too overpowered. I mean, I love it. It's a great plane, but it's just, I feel like you get like 4 of those and like one formation, and that thing would just kill an entire team.
Yeah, and like all the new aircrafts that have been coming out. Like, did you see that little talk about the white boat?
Sunderland?
No, it's called the white boat, the MBR-2. It's a Russian Soviet boat.
The Russian
but-
float plane.
Yeah, that thing.
That thing looks
Well,
pretty interesting.
I believe, what did they say? It would be like an event thing to get
Yeah,
it,
yes, it is.
which
It has
honest-
like
it'd be
it's
so
like a little
fun to
thing
have.
at the top of it.
Yeah, it's a little
It
engine.
has like a
on
little
top.
like engine.
Yeah, that's where
I'm
engine
just
was
trying to
mounted.
figure out like did they release what it would carry or anything like that? I feel like that thing would die like really quickly.
I think it carries two
Yes, because of
50s
the
and
engine.
two 100s.
Yeah, I feel like that engine would just be like a total weak point, and someone could just easily just shoot that
But,
gigantic
see,
engine and then
I
boom.
see this airplane just like the Wolf, which was, or I think it's the Wolf. No, the Owl, the Focke-Wulf Owl, which was released because it's just they're going to be used as reconnaissance, and they'd be amazing in like long, enduring confrontation tank battles or any sort of tank battle. It's just a reconnaissance plane. That's all it is. That's all it will be.
Now, looking at it here, it says I mean it's obviously tier 1. It only has two 20 mil or two 7.7s. It says it doesn't have that big of a bomb load either. I don't think it's going to be that great of a bomber, to be honest with you. I think it's going to be very kind of
It's-
bulky and slow.
It's just a reconnaissance aircraft. It can lend help when it
Yeah.
can, but it's meant there just to spot enemies.
Yeah, that's that engine though is humongous. Now, there's the new AA they added, the Falcon.
Oh, please, no.
That thing is.
I have
Jeez.
nightmares.
I mean, you would not want to be in the air. You know, we played a lot against it. I mean, we're me Matrix the other day. We're in jets, and Miles just had that Falcon. He was just tearing us up to pieces with it. Tearing other people up to pieces with it. He was just shooting down jets with that thing, and it's insane because it has so many 20 mils and it shoots so many bullets. It's so accurate. It's just a really overall like really good AA. Oh, that's 30 mils. My bad. Like that's just like 1,200 shots per minute. Like, come on, that's insane for a AA gun.
Well, even the new is this the K no, it's 94KM SPAAG. That's the new Russian AAA that has
Yeah.
two 25s on it on a ZIS-12 truck base, and that thing is just deadly.
I don't know. I feel like it's kind of going to be the same as the other Russian AAs. They're not that great because Russian AAs are not good for being
But for
amazing.
its group, and like if you know how to use them, that thing is very deadly. 25s are still deadly. You don't need to have a German 37 on there.
hmm What about the famous glorious British tank, the Chieftain? That thing, you know, I find kind of because the Chieftain it was made kind of. It's what the latest.
Yes, it's the
It's the
The
newest.
Chieftain? I feel like that shouldn't have been added almost.
Yeah,
It's
I feel like
too-
it's too new and too
It's
like
too
advanced. Yeah, like, even just the look of it, it looks super modern compared to the things. Because people still use it in today. Like, people
Yeah.
still use it, and you know, think of that against like World War II tanks. I mean, I feel like what they should have done is they should have definitely added in other tanks to kind of fight that, you know, and that would kind of be cool because I'd like to see War Thunder eventually, you know, after they added everything in, eventually maybe go like really early modern kind of tanks, like not super modern like what it is now, like the Abrams and stuff like that. But they can definitely go like, you know, with the Chieftain and maybe the Leopard 2 and things like that. I think that would be really interesting to see.
Leopard 2 is still very new though. It's still
Yeah.
being used.
Mm-hmm. So that's what I mean, though. You know, it's still being used, but it'd be cool to see that modern kind of change into it.
You know what you think about the last man standing part of the game?
Oh, I love
that's
that.
Something that either helps or
Or doesn't help.
doesn't help at all.
Well, I'm glad that at least they didn't do the stupid thing and put it in arcade.
Oh yeah,
Uh-huh.
is there anything good about it?
But I personally love it. Just being in a Tiger, just running on one crew, it's so fun.
It can be very annoying as well to fight against. You know,
Yeah,
you're shooting somebody, killed like every single one of their crew members. They have one crew member, they got one shot on you and you're dead.
especially when you're with the British guns that only has AP rounds, your explosive
Yeah.
killer.
What do you guys think about the new maps? Then they had the
Oh,
Volo
I
Columbus.
love the Frozen Pass map.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so fun to take like a plane and fly through the tunnel.
Yeah. I actually haven't played on the Frozen Pass map. I played on the other one. I kind of. I find the Voloco one. I mean, my opinion, it's kind of just like a really long range map, kind of a lot of sniping based in it. I mean, they have like the 2 towns and stuff like that, but I feel like it's mainly just a sniping map, kind of like whatever that big gigantic sniping map is, just got really smaller. But
yeah, it is. It feels like a Kursk of a Frozen map.
yeah.
Well, the thing is, in the Frozen Pass, if you get in the tunnel first, then you'll get the objective.
Yeah.
I didn't like the other map. I forget what it's called.
The Frozen Pass or the Volo?
No, the Volo. Yeah.
Yeah.
It just seems one-sided almost.
Mm-hmm. From what I've played, I mean, I've only played early tier like Americans on that map, and I've always gone to the south side.
And there's also, aside from the game maps, there's also a new development from the tanks that in arcade, the tanks are much faster than the realistic one.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did increase a lot.
It kind of made it a bit more arcadey.
Yeah, more faster.
Oh, talking about speed, what do you think of the new Tiger 2 that came out with its new enhanced engine?
Oh, jeez.
Tiger 2 SLA.
Yeah, but was it necessary to be at premium?
Yep.
No, it shouldn't have been a premium. That thing is...
That's the thing. I was actually gonna get it, and then it's like...
Yeah, it had a diesel engine.
Right.
Well, do you really want to waste, like, for me it's 60 Canadian dollars on it? It's like, no.
Ah, just use the other one.
Yeah. It
I mean,
does get a better turret
I could see it being a
protection.
good grinding tank if you want to use a grinding tank. But that's
Yeah.
about it.
It seems like a good tank to grind some tier 4 and 5 of Germany, but that's it.
Moving on from tanks, what about tank customization?
Oh yeah, they
Yeah,
have the new.
bushes.
Oh, they screwed that one up, right? I can tell you right now.
500 golden eagles.
No thanks.
Yeah, I don't know
Yeah.
why it had the cost to get bushes, honestly.
I feel like it should have been kind of what they did with the armor plating.
Yeah,
Unlock them.
either you can buy it with gold or you grind.
Well, what's with the helmet? I saw a helmet in there.
Oh, the helmet.
Because why not? For
It's all meant-
customization.
Honestly, when I saw this, all I thought was, oh my god, yes, we can make now a cool video. Because what you can do now is you can just kind of have like a customization of like all the different tanks are a little bit customized. Everything can look nice and pretty.
I mean, it's good to see like different variety, not just the same
Yeah,
tank.
it's nice
like,
to have
like
the option.
30 Shermans that look exactly the same. It's good to see different ones, different armor, different stuff.
Well, bushes doesn't really help in open field maps.
Yeah, another thing. I mean, I've noticed that I haven't seen a lot of people using the bushes, and when I do, I mean, it's not that difficult for me to spot them. I mean, they shoot once, I know where
Especially
they are.
if they have a tan colored leaves in with the environment.
Yeah, the leaf coloring, it still needs to be tweaked.
Yeah, but it did just come out. I feel like they probably add some more things in there. I hope and they'll do something.
Well, I see there is one problem with the bushes though. It is just like foliage. So tanks, if at a distance, I know I have a horrible computer, so the foliage doesn't really look proper for me, so I can see it. I can see tanks with foliage a lot easier than someone running a higher graphic setting. Okay, so besides that, let's move on to dev notes. This is a section where we talk about anything that has been released in development. So to kick this off, KV2s.
Yeah,
Yay.
new addition.
More KV2s, more destruction, more fun.
Dear God, we are done with that KV2 with the 130.
Aren't they? They're adding a German one, right?
Yeah, but it's just the same KV2 as normal. But the KV2 with the long barrel, oh my God.
Is that the ZIS 6 or the 1940?
Yes.
Oh yeah, I see what you mean. 76 millimeter, 107 millimeter. Jeez, that thing I feel like could really pack a punch.
Or
Really?
boom.
I mean,
All you need is more boom.
yeah, it'll be a tier 3 too, so I feel like that's gonna be really, more Russian bias.
More Russian bias.
Is it going to be premium or is it supposed to be just a regular?
Premium.
Premium.
Obviously.
I don't think they would implement that.
If it isn't premium, it isn't War Thunder.
It's good to see the new variety and stuff.
So,
How about
yeah.
the new?
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, what were you gonna say?
Nope, nothing. Go ahead.
All right. I was gonna say about the new World War thing. They're talking about now. They announced that way back. But they're kind of going into a bit more detail now about what they're doing, and them working on it. What are you guys' opinions on all that?
Well, they haven't said too much. They just said that it exists. That's it. We need to wait for more information, but
I'm hoping them saying this. They're saying like we're gonna start working on it. Because they were saying they announced that they didn't really do anything about it. But I hope because this game mode does look very promising. Which is going to do large battles. It seems like it'd be a very fun thing to do, kind of like enduring confrontation. That length, except to be like more entertaining, to be more objectives and things like that, like the wide maps, huge things.
That's something that benefits clans or squads that play European and communicate.
Yeah, and I feel like that really add in a huge aspect of the squad stuff. Like maybe you can have like different squad, like maybe you can start bringing like your whole entire clan, and you can have different squads, and you can have all that happening, and like I think it definitely can add a huge competitive factor to those big clans who do play War Thunder. Both tanks and planes. And then once ships come into that, I feel like that'd be like humongous.
Yeah.
They've said too much about it. I mean, they said that there's supposed to be like a lot of people in it. How much people do you guys like think are going to be in these large scale operations? They haven't said anything. They just said
clans and anything like that.
I feel like it'd probably be like 100, maybe more.
Yeah.
Well, if I'm reading this correctly here, I do believe that they're going to change up the battle rating system, as in a sense of you're not going to be facing a bunch of tigers. It will be kind of everyone spread out.
Yeah, I think it would kind of be
you'll have a few of the strong tanks, but then you're going to have your cannon fodder tanks elsewhere as well. Mm-hmm. So it's almost like a true tank division. You've never seen in World War II 100 tigers coming at you.
Yeah.
No, it was a couple of tigers, but they're mainly with their Panzer division of Panzer IVs.
I think that would really add a big realistic aspect to the game. And I can easily see this being on simulator. That'd be just insanely realistic. With the modes and everything that, like they said, they're doing it off of real historical events. I think that'd be really fun to do.
Oh, it'll definitely be really awesome.
Indeed.
Oh, I also just wait. When did African maps come out?
And with the 1.55 update with the British tanks.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. Okay, never mind. Is that all that they have announced?
Yeah, I think that's all they've really announced for the whole entire thing. I mean, they've announced they've had a few little patch notes and stuff even then, but there hasn't been really anything humongous.
Whatever has been released has already came out in a patch. So anything new, there's nothing really new.
Yeah.
So that will conclude dev notes. So let's move on to rants and raves. So this section we just rant about whatever we hate in War Thunder, and then whatever we love about we'll talk about as well.
Now, one thing I just want to say first is, because it came to my mind in the middle of this, squatting. How come we are limited to 4 people? I don't like that.
Maybe it's a discussion for everyone balance, because if you have a full squad playing against some random players, maybe there will be some balancing issues.
But I feel like what they can do for that is, it kind of encourage people to join a clan and join the War Thunder community with other people, it kind of encourage them to do that and be part of something. Because, I know for the clans themselves, it's kind of annoying when 2 people, 8 people want to play with each other and they're going to have to start squadding up at the same time, looking for the queues and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It really, eventually they do get in the game itself, so it's just adding more work. We do it anyways. I don't see why it doesn't get fixed. And then it adds a bigger team aspect to the squad itself. Also, we were talking about this earlier. The what was it? The grinding. I think they should definitely do some. the real research points are right. I mean, for like tier 1 and tier 2 and tier 3, I mean, those I feel like are all fine how they are now. But I feel like the tier 4 and tier 5s, I mean, they just take forever. Especially tier 5. Like any tier 5 takes a while. It takes like a week to grind it out. Maybe less if you're just spamming the premium planes and premium.
I do understand the reason for having the grind so long, just
Yeah,
so
you
get
know,
more
it's
play.
a free to play, so yeah.
Yeah,
But I feel like there's a certain extent they can go to that, you know. Like,
well, remember how hard the grind for like B17s were back then?
yeah,
It wasn't too bad.
They'll be like, buy the
It was
research
more like
points. Don't play
marketing it
anymore.
spam.
I don't know. I just feel like it gets people really kind of bored out on the game, just grinding for a long time, you know. Or
Take
like
real
I feel
money.
like, yeah, I feel like they can do like even if they do this for the World War and stuff like that, do things that can get you way more research points. Like have like mini objectives you can do, like you know what they do for the tickets and stuff like that.
Yes.
You know, as mini objectives get more research points. You can do like, you know, the events they give you more research points, which also encourage people to play the game more and do those events. You know, I know some of them do that
Well,
already, but
I always, like, if I ever want to grind something out, as in also, like, spade it out, I will always I always hop into, like, a simulator, what's it call it, enduring confrontation. So I just got my new B17, the silver version, and, you know, it's a beautiful aircraft, but like it's a hard thing to grind out. You get into a simulator event and you just go bomb the targets. You'll get good money, and then B, you also get a ton of XP, and it's really useful.
But that is for planes. What about tanks?
Pardon?
What about tanks? Because Enduring Confrontation only considers planes right now. So tanks are really suffering with the grinding.
And I feel like a lot of things like wrong with tanks, like you don't get like all the research points come from your kills. And I feel like they should even do things for like capturing the point, which get people to play more objective more to give you way more research points than what it does. Because really, they're just making you say get kills, you know. Don't try to win the game. Don't, because you get barely anything when you win the game. You get like maybe an extra like 500.
I've gotten more XP at times from losing a game and not getting any kills than getting 15 kills. And it's like, okay.
Yeah, the XP setting needs to be a little bit increased.
They need to tweak it. They need to make it more user friendly.
Scrub friendlier.
Yeah, they need to make it. They need to do something like there's not balanced at all.
Yeah. Now, one thing I actually like, you know, is I really like how they're trying to get people kind of hyped up. Like, you know, when they put in, for example, the ships, you know, that kind of got people hyped up. Saying, hey, you know, ships coming out. Now they're, you know, talking about this World War stuff, and they're kind of getting people hyped because nothing's really been happening with War Thunder for the past, you know, couple months. It's like people are like, yay, like, woohoo. You know, it's mainly just like, well, yeah, this is cool, I guess. You know, it's just like little tanks coming in, you know, nothing really big is happening, like a big update. Last big update we got was British tanks, and that was back in December. So I feel like, you know, this is definitely going to hype people up, and I feel like possibly we might be getting a big update maybe like at the end of the summer or like near December time as well. That'll add something really big into it, you know.
Yeah, I do feel that coming along. They're going to start doing more hype stuff, but yeah, there is a lot of issues at hand that still need to be addressed, in my opinion, before they begin work on something new.
It's still, the game's still in beta too, isn't it?
No.
Technically, yes, it is.
Is it?
I think so.
It's theoretically in beta, but it's far from beta.
Yeah.
It's called Charlie.
And no, just don't.
Cheddar.
Under Charlie.
Okay, what, let's see. What do you, like, I still have issues with thermodynamics. I've keep complaining about it in War Thunder, but I have found that it is very fun if you set up engine controls for realistic. I think that's something that should be like brought around. So at least it's so nice because, you can WEP, like, I fly British a lot, or I fly German or Americans, and I know you hold WEP, it goes into the orange, you let off WEP, and it slows down, but it's still pain. When you set up engine controls, in my opinion, you always you can keep WEP on for a much longer time, especially in B-17s. B-17s, I open my radiator right up and I'm wepping constantly and I'm happy. And I'm surprised they don't explain this a lot in tutorials or something. Like, oh, you should set this up if you're going to realistic or simulator.
Well, the thing
And
is,
I feel like that's a big problem that they're doing. I mean, they have all these mini features that they don't even address at all. Like, for example, the binoculars and the tanks and all these cool things that could really make the game really exciting, but they don't really they kind of hide them.
so going back to the engine controls, so this goes well for the bombers, because if you have three, four, or two engines, and one engine, for example, the second engine is overheating, then you can turn off the control on the first engine, then have control on the second engine and lower down the throttle. So the first engine will go on 100%, and the other engine goes down just to cool it down.
Yeah, and, again, and again, I think they really need to kind of show these many features. People need to talk about them because people really don't talk about them. And even in simulator, a lot of people don't even use these features and still don't even know what exists. And it's just one of the things that are kind of, I feel like they should do something about. Yeah, but
Well, we can do it in the next event of War Thunder in Thaw. If we can teach them how to do that.
yeah. Anything else that you guys really don't like about War Thunder right now? We talked about grinding stuff.
Grinding is a major issue almost. It's
it's one of the main things, and I feel like another big thing is that a lot of the tanks that are coming out now are, they're adding the new tanks, but a lot of them are going in just to premium. I kind of
they're
find
adding a lot of premium.
Yeah, and some are team killers.
Yeah. And I know it's a free to play game, but there's a certain extent that you really have to go through. Especially the game like War Thunder, where you do have a lot of people playing it, and you do have a lot of people. I mean, the game's fairly balanced with the premium stuff like that. You get a little bit better things, but it's not overpowered. But I feel like they're kind of on that path to making it basically okay, you have premium tank, you win. You're good. You win the whole game. You have premium tank, you're automatically better than everything.
I'm just thinking that what if Gaijin turned off the friendly fire in arcade battles in tanks?
That'd be the worst thing that would ever happen. That'd honestly be terrible. It's already bad enough off in realistic in simulator.
Turning
So
off
the
the friendly
TK in
fire.
realistic is more serious than the ones in arcade.
Yeah, you kind of waste a lot of money.
TKing in realistic is more frustrating than arcade because you can just respawn.
Yeah.
Realistic, it's...
Well, what I do when someone taking me in realistic, I just J out and let them take the credit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's one way to do it, too. Because you get so many of them, and they ended up... they get the ban on their record, or the TK on their record, and after so many weeks, they can end up with a 7 or 6 day cooldown or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So one thing more,
I guess it's
what
nice.
I despise, because when you play on your planes in realistic, you tend to lose more lions when you get a kill in the first few minutes of the game. But if you play on your tanks, you don't lose much money, like server lions on the repair of the tank. If you got that in the first few minutes.
That's kind of one of the things, actually. I mean, I feel like some of the plane costs are just way too high to repair.
Yeah.
I know the D9, I think it is, or D12, I don't know, one of them, they're 20,000 silver lions to repair one realistic game.
It can't be any worse than the CL13. You know what the CL13's repair costs? It used to be. They fixed it, though. 50k.
Jeez.
Oh, come on.
Even the 20k, though, the thing with the D, at least that's a jet, though. The D9 is just a regular prop plane.
Yeah, see, that's way
And like you have that, right? And then you have the premium D13. It's like $5,000 to repair, and then you have the MiG 15 bis, which is $10,000. Like it's just ridiculous. The D9 has to be that high.
Well,
It's
you
not even
have to
that good
make
of a plane.
you have to make profit in the game before you get killed
Yeah,
by a.
exactly.
Yeah, what's Anonymous gonna say about that?
But Anonymous, what do you think?
And that is imbalanced because there are too many costs that are too high, and most costs doesn't overlap. You have to do really well in some games just to get to the break point, and so you basically end up with no money because you have to keep buying.
Okay, well, that sums it up pretty much for Rants and Raves. Now let's go into Q&A. Okay, for Q&A, we have one question. And that question is from Many Miles, one of our fellow TAW members. And he is asking, what is the meaning of life? Well, Many Miles, I'll say the question right now. I'll answer
The
that
meaning
question.
of life?
Meaning of life is War Thunder. Deal with it.
Meaning of life is the
Meaning
Cita
of life
story.
is the podcast that we are in right now.
Yes, this podcast
Listen.
is life. You respect it and you go by it and you live for War Thunder.
You live by it. This is your
Okay.
religion.
So yeah, that's our only question. So yes, please people, give us better questions than that. Honest to God, I like Many Miles. I'm sorry. I'm displeased by you.
Many Miles, he doesn't like you. That's true.
Okay, well, that sums it up for our podcast. That was everything. I hope you've all enjoyed the podcast. Please stay tuned for a May podcast. Will most likely be coming out. We'll always be releasing a podcast. If it can't happen, we'll always release some therapy video in replace of it to keep you entertained. So, for all that, we're going to be leaving. So, goodbye. Thank you for the podcast.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.